the last, say, 10 minutes, I was in the boat with the Welsh fella. There was a Scottish boy in front of me, and he was absolutely cleaning up, and I don't know what he was doing. Every time I looked at him, he was in a fish. I'd say he had about 7 fish in the last 10 minutes, I'd say. I thought he was running away from us. And then whatever look I gave over, I saw 2 of our teammates. I saw Zach, and there was another lad. He was stuck in a fish. And on my last cast, I remember I cast it out, and I looked up to the sky, and I said, "Come on now!" And I hooked, and I landed a double fish. They all had fish in the last 5 or 10 minutes as well. So I was like, they never gave up either, and it was unreal.
Hello and welcome to the Ireland on the Fly podcast about the people and places of fly fishing in Ireland. Winning any kind of goal on the international scene, fly fishing for Ireland is quite an achievement. But the Ireland youths have done it 3 years in a row now, capturing their 3rd consecutive title this month against England, Scotland and Wales. It's also the first time this has been achieved, and so for this week's episode we catch up with their captain Eanna O'Leary and coach Denis Goulding to find out about the secret to their success. But first, Tom, for someone who's involved in youth angling as well, it must have been extremely gratifying to see this hat-trick of goals.
Yeah, good man, Dara. Absolutely fantastic, Dara. There's no other word for it. It's a brilliant achievement. And as you said, like, I've been involved in youths down through the years through different guises. And to see success in this regard is absolutely brilliant. I mean, the primarily goal of youth and getting involved in youth angling is getting involvement. You know, I mean, that's the first step. But this is the next step. This is actual, achieving something. I mean, achieving a gold is good enough. But to do 3 in a row, it was just amazing. And to be honest with you, as soon as I'd heard it happened, I was down fishing the World Cup when the text came through, and it rang around the way in of one of the heats, and immediately it was announced. I got a huge round of applause. Like, there was a really feel-good feeling about it. Like, everybody was absolutely delighted. You could see people showing their phones to one. Like, look, the youths have won in Clued Dog. It's just brilliant. It really is.
And 3 in a row, like, that's like Denis is saying, as far as he knows, it's never been done. And I think as well, there's a couple of things on that. One is, for me, is when we speak to Eanna, himself and 2 mates, 2 school friends.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And as I say to it, like, because we were trying to get this, as you know, the normal stuff of getting people to come on the podcast. We were trying to get it organized, and one of the nights we'd picked initially, and I just got a picture back. The reason they couldn't go, the 3 lads in their Debs, all decked out in the Deb suits, and them going out. So, and like 3 buddies, as he says, but like, it comes on, and like with previous guests that we've had as well. Remember that we had Rebecca and Alva last year. And, and their friendship started up by them being on the youths.
Yeah, that's team. True, actually.
But, yeah, theirs started, but with the lads, with Eanna, Cormac and Darren, they actually knew one another beforehand. But no, it's just great. Really was.
Just to drive each other on. And for me, the other thing as well I thought was interesting as well that Denis was saying was it was a team effort, really. Like, that whole, it wasn't the lads he said who caught the most fish that won it for them. It was the lads, I think it caught 7, was it? That was the difference.
Yeah.
Was it? And he says it was and that was, he was making a big point within the team as well. I think Eanna's captain was making the point. This is not about, it's about that everybody, between, if you catch the most, you catch the least about, and it was the lads who caught those handful that's what got them over the line.
And that's what got them over the line. But, and it wasn't just, I mean, that was naturally from Denis, you'd hear that as a coach, but you could hear that from Eanna as well as team captain, how important that was. And, like, Eanna, like, plays football as well. And he just said, there is a crossover there. It's a team sport. You're helping out one another. It's what you do on a field as well. He plays football, and he's just saying the exact same thing. And one of the other reasons we couldn't get the podcast was he had to go to football training one night. So
there's a lot to be said for all that as well. Like, I think sometimes there's a danger of that. Like, I know it's especially when you get older, is in terms of, you have to focus just on one thing, and training can be tough in terms of the amount you have to go out. But if you can balance it, and Eanna talks about it as well, the importance, you need that kind of balance as well. Like, if you're playing sport or anything, it doesn't have to be exclusive. Fly fishing can be part of that, and it can add to your skill set as well.
It can do, but like, then you look at Keane that we had on last week, and Keane made that decision. No, okay, it is going to be exclusive, but I think Keane found that it was interfering with his fishing. I think maybe I don't know what happened with Dana because they had buddies that fished. They could make their own time outside of the training and whatnot. But you have the two sides. But yeah, Aina's obviously made, and the other lads have made time for it not to be exclusive.
You know the difference. He went to college. All bets are off once you go to college.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll have Eanna back on next year, hopefully after Drake on and see. Very interesting point that he brought up. I just thought I'd mention, but because you asked him the question about getting youth's involvement, and seeing as we were talking about football, and he says, the difference, and I think it's something probably we should look at, and clubs should look at it in helping out, or organizations. And that's what he said, the cost. He says, I can go and play, I can go play football. I have to, a 50, 60 euro worth pair of boots, togs, socks, and you're kitted out and you can go and play football. But like he said, the tackle he has, he's talking about a couple of grand, to get sorted out. And it's something funny enough that I never actually thought of before.
It's a fair point, but you know what? Actually, I think it comes down to, it's like, and this is part of the problem is, I think, is unless you've got a family member or a close neighbor, right? And they mentor you, right? It's the only way you can. Or now you do have people who are it just becomes so obsessed, and it doesn't matter whether they have a family member or not. They just make it happen. But I think they're the minority. Whereas I just give you a good example, like that. It was Heritage Week here over the weekend, and we went down to the local field, and behind the castle, and they had all these stands and stuff. Well, there was what's always very visible about all these events is the canoeing club, the scouts, the archery club, and yet there's never ever any visibility with the fly fishing club in terms of, and I'm not, I'm talking about targeting youths.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that I suppose we don't think of it, unfortunately, in those terms. And I'm not just saying it locally here. I'm saying at any kind of event I go to, like whether it's around the country. I think the Mayo lads, East Mayo, they're having their events, so that's, slightly different, and they're doing brilliant stuff. But I think generally across the country, there's not that kind of, oh, let's get out and be visible and let's try and target the kids. Because I don't know, you have a field there, a couple of hundred people maybe over the weekend walking by. You never know.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's
fishing.
true. And
Johnny, Mary, you're into that, weren't you?
And unfortunately, it's left to each individual club to do that. I know we had a day here in Carnamona. Was it last year? Trying to think now, where there was sort of, as you said, like there was a fair down at the community pitch, and I was working that day, but I know I was out boating. I couldn't do it, and a couple of the lads from the club were there with the club rods set up and everything, and they got a great response. So it's there, but the opportunity was there, and so the local club filled in. But when you're relying on local clubs, it's kind of hard. Some clubs are struggling, membership or whatnot. Some clubs are stronger than others. There should be a concerted central movement to do these things to help out clubs in the area. Like as you said, there was no visibility at the week you were at, or at the event you were at. Whereas if
and it's Heritage Week, you would have thought Heritage Week. My God.
Yeah.
Can you get a sport that's any more related to our culture and heritage?
Yeah, I mean, like, to be honest here, we're looking out this week, this episode, and the last episode is fantastic. We're dealing with, keen, really keen, excuse the pun, keen, really enthusiastic salmon angler. And then this episode, we're looking at, the success of the youths and the involvement there. So that's the good side, but there are other things that can be done. And like you just noted it there, and maybe as well with what Eanna said as well with the cost of tackle, it's very prohibitive if you don't have a family member, to go fly fishing. And, whether there was some sort of pool done by the organizations where, for example, I started thinking just after we're talking, I mean, why not some sort of system where anglers could donate their old tackle when they upgrade. Yeah. I mean, a lot of anglers have old, decent, let's say, I'm thinking lock style 10-foot rods and reels, and donate them, and solely for the use of kids, that they could be within, and the youths could use them, and they're marked, and if they like it, great. There's some sort of scheme where they can get them, or if they don't, they go back into the pool like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's very good
something
idea.
like that. I mean, that's something now for the governing bodies maybe to look at. But like, I don't know. It's just after Eanna saying that, it set my mind thinking, you know?
Yeah, yeah. There's room for improvement.
Yep.
Not much room at the top with the
No, I mean,
with
back to
the
this.
youths.
No, I mean, like, and it was great. I mean, like, the story at the end of the last 5 minutes that Aina tells, I thought that was cracking. Because, I've been in that situation in competitions where you're looking around and you see guys from other teams catching, and oh God, and I've looked up to heaven too, but like, heaven responded to Aina at that time anyway.
Let's get back to this week's guests. Denis Goulding, coach of the history-making Irish youth team, and first their captain, Eanna O'Leary. And I first asked Eanna about his reaction to winning the 3 in a row.
It's hard to believe, really, that after so much years of not qualifying for Ireland, I've been fishing, trying to qualify since I was 12. And then to get 2 gold medals, like, back to back is just unbelievable, really.
Has anybody got 3 medals, actually? Was there anybody with the 3?
Thomas and Joshua McGinn are on the team. 2 of them have 3 gold medals now. And hopefully when we go to Draycott next year, they'll hopefully get the Grand Slam and get the 4.
I was actually seeing that in the article on the I5 website, and they're saying that, going for the Grand Slam, like, no pressure, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, huge pressure, but sure, there was big pressure coming to Wales as well this year, and sure, we got it done, thankfully.
What was it like beforehand? Were you a bit nervous the morning of the match?
A bit nervous the morning of the match. We got kind of word the night before that there was teams catching big numbers individually. We weren't putting up kind of numbers like them, but we stuck to the plan on the day, and thankfully it worked out.
Rumors are rumors.
Rumors are rumors.
It all depends on match day. It doesn't matter what you catch on practice days. We had the work done. That was that. What's
Denis like as a coach? Is he like the Pochettino type? Is he more Guardiola?
He's a bit of a Jurgen Klopp, I'd say. He's a bit controversial.
Is he going nuts on the sideline, kind of like?
Oh, the whole time, but sure, we love him.
Denis, tell us, you must be so proud of that bunch of lads.
Yeah, they fished well above their station on the day. They did what I asked. I told them going out, fish to the plan. If it fails, it's my fault. But they went out and they just did what I asked, and they fished really, really well. For 2 days practice on the lake that we had never seen before. And it's stocky bashing with numbers, which is totally different than anything we ever experienced before. But, the team worked well. There's a few other people there that helped us out, as in Irish people. And it was instilled within the group that we could win it. And we had no doubt that if we got the bit of luck, we would do it. So it was amazing. Like, the kids produced bags of fish, smiles coming in. Amazing.
Yeah, you could see that. I mean, like, that was the one thing I thought going, and like, Eanna, you probably haven't got to. I mean, how many chances have you had beforehand to go pure stocky bashing? We don't have that in Ireland.
We don't have that, yeah. Like I was saying to Denis there, like, we're all wild trout fishermen. I grew up fishing rivers, wild small trout rivers. The only chance I ever get to go stocky bashing is in the winter to maybe still waters, Adair Springs or Knockadairy or something. So it was totally new going over to me, trying to put up numbers, pulling blobs and boobies, but thankfully we had Denis there to coach us along and tell us what to do anyway.
And come here, what was it like after your first practice day? What did you think?
I didn't think the place was real, to be honest, with the amount of trout in it. It was just insane. Every cast you had a follow or something, but which I wasn't used to. I was used to hauling lines in out in the mask and not meeting trout for 3 or 4 hours. It was surreal,
yeah, it's
really.
The normal run of things from that. Yeah.
Especially in mask.
Well, Denis, then you only had your 2 days practice.
Yes.
Right? And I know from any competition, how many methods had you for the lads? Or was it one method? Was it plan A, plan B, plan C, or what was it?
You see, the thing about it is when you go to war for the first time, right, and there's people that have been on the war, you get all this information coming. Well, I forget about all that. I split the lake up and we fished the lake in sections, doing certain methods. And certain lads were going out with certain flies in the boxes. So it's what happens there is areas won't fish on a certain method or blah, blah, blah. But really, you have to adapt the kids to a method, their capabilities. Like some of the senior lads can throw big long lines, others can't. So we actually had from a die 7 to a bung. And each kid was adapted to a method that they could actually fish for the whole day and catch fish. That was the key of it all. But finding areas that fished was number one. So we had, the first day, we had 174 fish. Sorry, that was the biggest bag of fish ever recorded by an Irish team, don't care, seniors, juniors, in a practice day. We knew the lake was heavily stocked, but the fish moved very quickly once it's stocked in that lake. So the dam fished its head off all day on the first practice day. It was easy fishing. It was lock style fishing, pull, bang. So the second day, I knew it was going to come off, and the fish were going to run up the lake past Dean's Point, probably into the sailing club, but they hadn't settled in an area. They were still moving. So the fish tend to move from, say, the two arms up one end of the lake and the dam the other end of the lake into the cages, because there's not much food in the lake. So they run along the walls and the cliffs and come all the way up. But the strange thing happened, I was talking to Russell, that the fish never moved out of Bigot up the very top end, which you normally run straight out of. But we'd found fish in 5 areas in the first day, 6 areas in the first day, but we were unsure they would stay there. So the thing would be to concentrate in them areas and then see what we can get out of them. And then concentrate the last day in areas that, the fish were, resident. So it was a stocky bashing affair, but it wasn't, because, you had to use your brain. I watched other teams pulling all day. We didn't do that. It was sort of twiddling. Like, when I say twiddling, it was slow pulling, hanging, changing the flies was a big thing. Now, they only had a small selection of flies because that's all you need in a match. It's either colours or dark flies. So the fish would be on colours in the morning for the first hour and a half, and you could bash them. And the thing is to get every fish into the boat then, and then go on to your dark flies, and then continue on. Well, the kids had it. Like, they're not kids; they're young adults. They knew how to fish. They knew they were confident coming in. Every day they were confident coming in, and it was just they worked together. Like, the communication between the team on the match day was amazing. Like, one lad only had one fish, and I think Jacob. We did all the signs on the signal. Eanna has a fly named after himself. He'll tell you that now. And it was ringing. It was ringing around the lake. What was that fly, Eanna?
I don't know. What can I say it?
You can, of course.
Eanna's pussy.
And we had different names for different things. Now, I explained to the lads on the morning of the match what they were and the signals, because they'd forget otherwise. So it was fresh in their heads. But one lad had one fish. Darren had one fish, and Jacob came up to him and gave him the signs, signals, the whole lot. 7 fish later.
Right.
That's what wins matches.
Yeah.
Communication between the team. Nobody was out to win anything on their own. They were all there to win a gold medal.
And in terms of actually, Denis, fostering that kind of group mentality, like, is that just fostered through kind of weeks and months of training together, preparation together? How does it work in the run-up?
It's the mentality of your coaches and the people around the kids. There's a group called Frogs up north, up in Ulster. They look after, they're government funded. I think they're government funded. But Joe and Damien work well with the kids all winter long throughout the year. And like, this thing of being coached and being asked to do something, they just do it. There's no question. Like, they just do it. Like, imagine
just like the seniors, Denis.
Yeah, like I had a meeting yesterday morning with the senior team. Like, you and I know what the crack is there, and
I think we might be a bit disparate, but it's just harder with the seniors because, and let's be fair, a lot of seniors, they're guys with experience, they go in and they think they're less open.
They know better.
Well, yeah. I know what you said.
I suppose their skill set got them this far. Why should they change otherwise? Like,
but the thing is, you never know everything in angling, and you know that, Tom, more than most. I've looked, like, that was my 13th year coaching the kids on and off. I've learned from the kids. That has helped me in my angling career. If I see something different, or even a knot or whatever, I'll take it away. But some people are just this closed mindset where the kids are open. Yeah, you're here because you're good at what you do. So coach us and we do what you say.
This is for Eanna, because like you talk about the kind of the collective. Eanna, two of your friends from the same area, same school, like were on the team as well. Like that must be a first as well. Was it like that three kind of school friends like that growing up were all fishing for the Ireland team?
Yeah, I'd say it definitely was. Like it's not popular where I'm from. Um, we all kind of started together. It was kind of Dinger Murphy got us. He got us together there one time up in Adair Springs. It's a rainbow trout pond, and it kind of took off from there. We've been fishing nearly every month since, and we just a really close friendship has bonded from it.
It's brilliant. Like and like you guys grew up then fishing the rivers, the local rivers, and would have seen each other in school and all, and fishing all the way through. Like it's like I said, it's a very unique kind of situation. I think it'd be rare that you'd see it repeated, I suppose. And would you guys all still keep in touch now? You're obviously moved on from school, but you'd be keeping in touch and keep fishing together, like.
Oh yeah, Jesus, I'm texting Darren every night and Darren and Cormac about fishing. I'm very close with Cormac and Darren about everything, like even going out for nights out. We're always kind of together.
Actually, can I just say, I saw the picture of you from Thursday night of the three at your events, and you look splendid, the three of you.
Thanks very much, Tom. We try our best.
3 bowsies.
Oh, oh, well, it didn't look like that in the picture. I'm very impressed now.
I was early in the night, though, I'd say, Tom.
Yeah.
And Denis, you find it because it's so unusual, isn't it? Three lads grew up together, fishing together. Like.
It's great that, like Dinger, like you need people around the country bringing the kids along, and like Dinger's done a lot for the sport, and he doesn't get recognised for it. Like there's lots of people around the country that try bring the neighbours, kids, the whole lot. Joe has a group of anglers up there, and they're fishing every day of the week, every weekend. I think there's two. I think Lewis and Jacob are from the same class as well. So our sport is a minority sport, but if you get groups of kids together, they learn off each other, and it's great. But it's never been really seen before, and we really need somewhere like in Connacht, Leinster, and Munster to bring people on. We need, a hub in each province.
I know it's a different level, but like it's the same kind of principle why you have, the rugby academies, in Connacht, Leinster. They bring the players together, the young fellas, and they get used to playing with each other and growing up together. It's the same principle, like.
It's totally the same, but I mean, there's no big. Like I sent out 117 emails there when we came back, because I'm the PRO of the ITFA as well as the youths. And like the response is next to nil. Like you might get 4 responses out of 117 emails. They just don't want to know. It is a minority sport. Rugby be bigger, soccer, you name it. But there's kids out there. Like I mean, Tom knows. Tom, your life has revolved around fishing. And look at the benefits you got from it. The people you met. Like I mean, hopefully my son will be, trialing out next year. And he'll get what Eanna's have to get. It's all about, making friendships, contacts, and progressing.
But also the experience.
Yeah, that's it.
That for to go away. Like Eanna, did you find going away in that, you're dealing with that pressured situation. It's competition. It's you thrive in it as well. Like it's nice winning, but like you find it. It just all adds to kind of the growth experience. Like.
Yeah, it's like the first time I qualified, it was kind of tough, like, meeting all new lads and not really meeting them before. But, after the first day, you all kind of realise everyone's there for the exact same thing, just to win it, like, and you all get fairly friendly, fairly quick. At massive intensity, the practice days, and even just coming into the hotel on the bus, on the travel day, it's just mad, like, I fished the World Championships in Bosnia this year, the river one. And we had a team of 6, and there's just coming in and seeing even in the Four Nations, when you see all the other teams, you get hyped up. You want to beat them, of course, and it's nice the buzz it gives you.
No, it's great to hear you just the buzz that it gives you. I think that is fantastic. You know that buzz now, Eanna.
Yeah,
you got it. Yeah, and you want it again.
I want it again. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, you do.
Well, like Ireland's been lucky the last couple of years. Like, I mean, the last 3 matches senior I fished, I won 3 goals. The
Mm.
last 3 matches the juniors have won. They won 3 goals on the lake. It's an amazing time for fly fishing in Ireland.
Mm.
And the buzz that kids can get off that will last them forever.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's truly an
we're seeing
amazing
it
thing.
here.
Like even the parents, the whole lot.
Aina, tell me this in terms of maybe just give us a bit of background where you grew up. Do you play other sports? It's interesting. We spoke to Keane O'Boyle, who's a mad keen salmon angler, and he was saying like even where he grew up, kind of near the Moy, is and the Owen Moor, like not many kids his age were fishing. Like it was incredible when you think of where he grew up. Like, was it similar for you growing up?
Yeah, similar for me growing up. So I've always been involved with GA. I love playing it. It's just always grew up playing it. All my friends played it. Still playing it. No one really fishes around my area. Really. So I was kind of when you were told I was going off fishing the World Championships in Bosnia, you kind of get a second look saying, "Ha!" So that kind of way. Why? But no, I always played other sports, and I think it's really important to have more hobbies other than fishing as well. Like it's important to keep healthy as well. And even with the football, it ties into the fishing as well with the fitness and stuff that I was able to running up and down the riverbank in Bosnia. So it really helps with endurance and stuff, and it keeps you strong minded when you're in the river when things mightn't be going too good for you. But it always just helps as well having that kind of the formation there that Denis had for us as well. Was just good. Like,
Did you find that, Denis, in terms of was there many other the lads on the team where did they play other sports, or like I just wondering, does that help when you play other sports? It brings that kind of competitive
Yeah,
element.
it does, of course, because you rely on your teammates when you're out fishing, believe it or not. It's a huge thing. It's camaraderie. Like, I mean, sharing things, explaining things. You have to have that team concept. Like, I mean, we had Andrew Duncan there, Dara's dad. Dara's on the team. And Andrew talked to the kids every evening. Like, the knowledge that man has is unreal. But it's all to do with the team. It's all to do with working together for one goal. And, like, we knew that we were up against it, but it was instilled in them from the very start that they could do this through teamwork, just through teamwork, not individually, teamwork. Like, I mean, the two lads who caught the least amount of fish, I brought them up in front of the group. Like, that 7 fish that they caught between them won the gold medal.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? That's what won the medal for us, not the big catches, the 7 fish.
And that's very true, Denis. And I was looking at the results, and that explains to everybody in a team how important everybody is.
Yeah.
You know the old thing: a team is only as strong as its weakest link. And you look there, without those 7 fish, you'd have been in second place. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's
exactly.
fantastic. Actually, I was going to ask Eanna, talking about the team and everything, and this is the thing I often ask guys on the practice day, Eanna, the first one, when you had to go out and try a certain method. How do you find that? You know?
I think, like, you know, when you're given a method and you've heard other methods are working, you might go out with pulling's working, you might go out with dry fly, and you might be kind of giving out that why am I fishing this, but it's so important to go out and try different methods in other lakes because you could hear that information from someone, but every other team could be doing it the exact same method as well. It was important to go out and try different methods, and we actually found a method that worked. The bung, we were told that pulling and static was working all week. So Denis and Julie are avid users of the bung, and it worked. There was a lot of fish caught in it. The Scottish were using it a lot, and look at the numbers they put up. They nearly beat us. So yeah, it was kind of on the first day when we went out on the practice day. I think I was drawn. I had pulling and fishing a washing line.
Yeah, pulling twiddling. I have it here in front of me. I keep all these records for years to come. You know what I mean? Like, you just pull out on that. Yeah, go on.
Pulling and twiddling. I was kind of happy with them, but there was a lad on the boat with me, Cormac. They weren't catching fish on dries, and he was put on dry fly, and he wasn't confident that he was going to catch fish, and straight away he was 3-0 up on me on the dry. So it was important to try all them.
Yeah.
I'm realizing, Dennis, I think you're more like Eric Ten Hag. Here is the plan.
Yeah.
But what my question is there any Ronaldos, any Mavericks, Cantona types who kind of like to, push the boundaries?
Yeah, they all try. They all fail. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. Like, I mean, that's the way I run it. And, fire me if you want, but there's a plan. You stick to the plan. Like, I mean, some of the guys went there with all the flies. Like, I mean, I collected all the flies on the evening coming back on the bus. I collect all the boxes. The flies are for the kids for the following year. I looked in the boxes and it was easy to see where some of the bags should have been more than what they should have been. There was other flies crept into them boxes. Do you know what I mean? I straight away I looked at the box and went, I know who that is. Turned it over. That's his name on the box.
How was Eanna?
Eanna was good. He was a good boy.
Good man,
Captain
Eanna.
always leads up front. He was a great captain, to be honest with you. He instilled a lot of stuff in the kids. He led by doing what we asked to do, and like everybody was made welcome, and that's what a captain does. He brings everybody into the team, and like you could see him chatting to kids that weren't doing well, chatting to kids that were doing well. A very, very good captain. Very proud of him.
Fair play goit in a bhí tú géisteach leis an banisteoir nach raibh.
Bhí mé géisteach ar sa caithfear.
I just said he was listening to you, Dennis.
Yeah. I heard H-Stock, so I knew it was something like that.
Dennis says 3 in a row. Was that ever done before for Ireland?
Never.
Other countries, have they done it?
No, I don't think so.
Wow.
It's absolutely fantastic. It is a phenomenal achievement.
No, I just want to say it's all about the work that's done beforehand by Noel Farr and his daughter. The amount of work they put in to have it. Like, I mean, I didn't want for anything. The clothing was there, everything was organized. I just did my job. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to do my job. Now we had Julie there. She's the new manager, I think, ratified at the AGM for next year. She was there, and there was Dinger, there was Swanky, Mike, and then there was Andrew. And between all of them, everything was sorted for them as well. Like, I mean, there's the boats, get into the boats, whatever. All the kids were happy. Eileen and Nolan, amazing jobs. Like, I couldn't ask for a better manager ever. And I've worked under a lot of different managers.
Tell me this though, Dennis, in terms of fundraising, like, because obviously does that all have to, you have to go
that's
out
what
and do yourself?
Yeah, that's what the managers do. They look after that and all the kids. Like David Brown, who's another great manager. I worked under him. It's all done by the staff, Eileen and Noel. I know Julie's going to do it this year. There's a huge, you wouldn't believe, I'm not going to tell you how much money is involved in this. Do you know what I mean? And we only get 2 days on the lake. Like, I'd love to have the kids out there for 4 days. And we'd be able to do a lot better. In my eyes, 2 days, it's very hard, it's very risky. You go to the plan, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you're dead. I mean, you're dead. But the amount of work they put in, big kudos to Eileen and Noel.
How do we compare, in funding terms compared to the other countries?
Fishing has taken a backseat in most of the, like, Scotland, Wales, and England. It's very hard to get funding. Now, if it was carp fishing or something like that in the UK, you get lots of funding. There's no big names behind the sport. Now, we are lucky enough, like Tom Dock, Fulham Mill, we got nylon, we got fluorocarbon off them. That's a huge amount of money that they gave us this year, and thanks again, Tom. But we also have NARA. NARA gave us a huge amount of money as well. We had sponsors from the 4 provinces and the main body of ITFFA. Apart from that, the kids went out with their own cards and collected sponsorship for themselves. It's really hard. It's run on the shoestring near enough, but it's always run to the best what we can do. Like, I mean, I'd love to see 40 grand being put into the youth every year. And that is not enough. Somebody to come up and go, yeah, I'll give you 30 grand, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's colossal the amount of money. And to ask, like, the parents come as well. Like, they're giving up a family holiday to come over and do this. Yeah, just to get money in would be a great thing. And yeah, anybody listening out there wants to, you know where I am.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
three goals in a row, like, you know what I mean? Like, how much more feel good factor, you know, in terms of what you could do now, you know, going forwards, like, you know, with a bit more funding as well would be incredible.
With more funding and have hubs around the country teaching the kids, keeping them off the street, off the Xboxes, out of the pubs, out whatever. You know, it's a huge thing that money should be out there somewhere. And it's a cross-border thing as well. We're not the Irish team. We're the four provincial team. Has to be some politicians out there listening going, yeah, well, there is money. There's a number. Bring that.
Yeah. Eanna, tell me this in terms of obviously, like, what's your thoughts? We always ask kind of the younger generation, like, in terms of trying to get more young people into the sport. It's a hard sell, isn't it? Like, it's like you said, even growing up, you were the rarity, like.
Yeah. Like, it's hard to get them into it. Like, it's if you think about it, it's a very expensive sport. Like, I don't know. To play football, all you need is a 50 or 60 euro pair of boots, pair of shorts, and a pair of gloves. Like, and then you're away. Like, with fishing, you need lines, you need box, you need life jackets, you need wet gear, you need everything. Like, I was talking to my father about it. Like, the cost of it. Like, the cost of my fishing gear is upwards to 3,500, 4,000. Like, you know, it's insane numbers when you think about it. Like just including the box, like, there's 1,500 euro worth of gear in my fishing box alone. It's very expensive sport to get into. It's a very rewarding sport as well, though. At the same time, like, you know, just to be outdoors. I love it. Like, it's when I'm out fishing, it's kind of a different reality. Like, it is a tough sport to get into, though. I agree with that. Like, when I started off with nothing, like, you know. But now, since I really got into it, you know, I started working and trying to put money into it, and it's worked out, thankfully.
And do you think going forward, like, you know, you'll want to try and give back in terms of the youth, try and help out? Would you see yourself always being involved, like?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was saying there, I'm not ready to leave it yet. I want to go to
Good
Wales.
man.
I want to go to England with the team next year to try give them out to try put something back into it for all the hard work they've done for me as well. Like, to go over, and it's great crack. Like, going over with the lads there this year was one of the best memories I'll ever have. Like, just going over, like, they're all from 1 to 14 of the lads. They're all some crack. Like, just to be around with.
I must say, so you get a free swim as well at the end, is that it?
Oh, free swim. We supposedly, but we weren't allowed to this year.
Oh, are you not?
No, not this.
Health and
Thank
safety.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been done away with, has it?
Oh no, it's not done away with. We'll do it. We'll do it the next time. It's just that we were put right that we couldn't do it this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Should have done, you know, isn't the NFL the Super Bowl where they get the big cooler?
Ice bucket.
Yeah, ice bucket. Don't get over, like. Well, listen, it's been fair play. And so, obviously, you're looking ahead to next year, Denis. Like, will the preparation, like, do you think you have a good chance to do the Grand Slam?
You can't beat the Irish. Like, I mean, we are like, I mean, the youths are unbelievable. No matter what comes in front of them, they will fish their hearts out. There's never a head dropping, nothing. I am already preparing for next year. I prepared for next year the moment I unpacked my bags when I came home. Get all the flies ready, dry them all out. Starting to make contacts with lads in Draycott, getting inside information. Sometimes it's more of a hindrance getting information than a help. But look, we don't know if we're going to Draycott or Grafton. We don't know. They haven't decided yet. It's up in the air. But whichever one, it's going to be very similar tactics.
Yeah.
We won't be as heavily stocked. We won't get the numbers of fish that we're at this time. It'll be a different way of fishing, and Tom knows this. Different waters, different styles. Depends on the weather, but yeah, oh yeah, we have a great chance. We always have a great chance. Like young lads like Eanna, on the team, like everybody, all the youths, once they qualify, all they want to do is win. But it's not all about that. It's about the experience they have. I told them all going out, fish as hard as you can. Doesn't matter if you catch 1 or 25. Doesn't matter. Just enjoy yourself. And that's what it's about.
The last year, the success of the Irish, have the other countries kind of been taken by surprise at it? Like, okay, you can win it 1 year and go, okay, they won it. But like the fact that it's been sustained over the last 3 years, like
the amount of work that the people do in the background into that team is amazing. And that's what has us where we are. Do you know what I mean?
But it's made the others sit up and take notice, hasn't it? Going, Jesus, Ireland are the ones to beat. Like,
yeah. Craig Barr, captain of the English team, says we're the one to beat. Russell Owen and Gaza from Cluedo just looked at me and went, unreal, absolutely unreal. Like, to do that on a heavily stocked water, they thought like, we get hammered. But we have the experience. Like Andy was there as well. Like Andy Duncan, Tom knows him well. We had 2 very experienced, and Julie 3 experienced people working out how to catch stockies. Do you know what I mean? And we fished for so long now. I think the first one I fished at Rutland's was 99. It was, what was it? 90, 95, 94 when we first capped. So I've been at them a long time. Andy's been at them a long time. Julie's been at them a long time. It's all that coming together and putting into the kids and just giving them a method for each one of them, like, and making sure they have what they want going out. The guy that lined kids in front of me, taking their orders for flies the night before the competition. I think it was 5:15 when I packed away the gear in the room. You know what I mean? But that's what it takes. Like, I mean, they're happy going. Make sure the kids are happy going out, that they're confident going out. Yeah, and the other nations are going, yeah. There will be no surprise on their face if we win it again next year, or the year after, or the year after.
And come here, Dennis, just for a wrap for people listening, what was the final positions and number of fish on each team?
It's 175 we had. Go on, 169.
9, yeah.
And who was second with 169? Scotland. So basically, in that number of fish, Scotland were still barking at the heels, weren't they?
The last, 10 minutes, I was in the boat with the Welsh fella. There was a Scottish boy in front of me, and he was absolutely cleaning up. And I don't know what he was doing. Every time I looked at him, he was in a fish. I'd say he had about 7 fish in the last 10 minutes, I'd say. It was insane to look at, and I thought it was running away from us. And then whatever look I gave over, I saw 2 of our teammates. I saw Zach, and there was another lad. He was stuck in a fish. And on my last cast, I remember I cast it out, and I looked up to the sky, and I said, "Come on now!" And I hooked, and I landed a double fish.
You did that on your last cast?
Yeah, on my last cast. Yeah.
Oh, class.
So that was the best.
There you go, Captain.
Over it. And
Captain, fantastic.
That's it.
They all had fish in the last 5 or 10 minutes as well. So I was like, they never gave up either, and it was unreal.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Because like on a 14-man team, that's still an average of over 10 per rod.
Yeah, the rod average was 10.5, I think.
Yeah, we had an average of 12.50. The rod average for the whole lake that day was 10 point something.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
So we had 2 fish average more per team for our team, like
above the average, and that's what won it.
Yeah, if you beat the lad in the boat with you, or you stay neck and neck with him, you'll always be thereabouts. Like our top rod, who, like you can't forget him, Finton Caroline. He was being beaten 6-1, right?
Right. Yeah.
And he looked over, and your man was using a sinking line, but he didn't know which one. And he says, "Oh, what do you think of that booby basher?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a great line, but you Irish lads can't fish it." Okay, with I7, 26-16, he bet him.
Wonderful.
On Ireland, on Ireland.
You know what I mean? That's the way it is. Like, I mean, they don't give up. I'd Fintan out in Loughanna, fishing deep lines, and it was a really hard day. He never gave up, but he remembered. So the coaching days really make a big difference. Like some of them guys from frogs up north rarely sit in the boat. Eanna there is brought up in the boat. These lads weren't. It's amazing the way different people from different parts of the country just gel together and work it out between them. And they'd be chatting away like all night, fishing mad.
Yeah. It was nice as well. Like I knew, like I was fishing the World Championships with Thomas and Evan McMicken the week before the competition. So we kind of, after doing not so well in Bosnia, just to go to Wales then and win it was unreal. We were saying, like, because we got a hammering in Bosnia, if anything.
Yeah, Bosnia was tough though.
Bosnia was tough. It was very demanding as well. Like the rivers were just so technical. Like, it was just nice to win something with Thomas and Evan as well. Probably two of the most funniest lads I've ever met in my life. But,
they're mad, yeah.
Yeah, great lads. I know Evan. He's a great lad. Oh, listen, fantastic lads, fantastic. We could go on for ages, but listen, we'll have to have a wrap now. Before we go, we normally ask everybody on the show a question. Denis, you've been on already, so I'm going to bypass you. You have. So Eanna, listen, want to ask you what your most memorable fish on the fly is.
There's a lot to choose from, but I remember I was fishing the black water with one Darren Sweeney, the lad who I fished with all my life with. I was fishing the river. We were fishing for trout, and the trout fishing was absolutely dire. We were fishing small, tiny nymphs, and I remember, I'll never forget it. I flicked my nymph into a run. It was on the nymphs, and I hooked this fish, and out came the run, a salmon on the nymphs. I'll never forget it. I remember Darren and myself just ecstatic when we caught it. Like, it was just mad. And Darren's dad was there as well. Just to land this fish on that light of a rod and everything was probably my most memorable.
What weight rod were you using?
It was a 3-weight rod on 2.5 pound tippet.
Wow, what size is the salmon?
He wasn't big. It was a grill strawn. He was probably only like 3.5, 4 pound, but just to catch him was just mad.
And that tippet.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Couldn't get over it.
I think it's gas for a trout angler. The most memorable fish in the fly was the salmon. Good man.
No, Dara.
Behave.
Well, Eanna and Denis, fair play to you in terms of what you've put in terms of the work, the experience, the time, the effort, and to everyone else involved. We have to say that as well. It's a collective in terms of everybody, the time put in. Best of luck for the Grand Slam. We'll have our fingers crossed. Listen, lads, thanks a million for joining us.
Thanks very much, Darren.
Thank you.
Our thanks to Denis Goulding and Eanna O'Leary for joining us on the show. Don't forget to rate, review and follow the Ireland on the Fly podcast on Apple, Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Plus, you can keep up to date on IrelandOnTheFly.com as well as on Instagram, and myself and Tom will be back with another episode about the people and places of fly fishing in Ireland.